Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids, and in today's video, we were talking about this during the CVC stream I did earlier, but I have got an initial build on Newt, and we're going to be using him alongside, actually, it's like spoiler for the team here, alongside Razzlevarg, believe it or not, and 2 epics and 1 rare to take on Fire Knight Hard Stage 6 in a really easy farm. So the reason we're doing Stage 6 as opposed to Stage 10 is, well, very simply for that reason, it is much easier, it's much more accessible. So this is the initial gearing I've got on Newt, double perception and 1 righteous, really looking for lots of speed. We have him running at 251 speed. I do think that around 250 speed seems to be sort of the sweet spot that people are going to generally be aiming for even end game content, perhaps even faster, right, with better gear. We've got decent HP and defense, quite easy to do because his bases are so high. The speed is tricky with 99 base speed, so you're going to be focusing on that. 100% crit rate. We only have 222% crit damage, so a decent chunk, but nothing too crazy. And then we have 400 accuracy, which is quite a lot. For Fire Knight, by the way, I do have +6 speed, 9% crit damage, 15 attack, doesn't really matter. 24 accuracy and 6% ignore defense. So a few little area bonuses there, which are going to help us out. By the way, for Newt, we did this on stream, but if you weren't there, these are the masteries that we built for him. We are grabbing Giant Slayer. We are grabbing Master Hexer. One interesting question was Cycle of Violence. If a skill exceeds 30% of the target's max HP, it decreases the cooldown of another skill. This was an interesting question, right? His A3 ability does 10% max HP damage per hit. So it will do exactly 30% damage if you hit the damage cap. So that was a question like, oh, you have to exceed 30% though. Would the Giant Slayer proc? Would that count? Would that push you over? Haven't tested it out, but it's an interesting question. If anybody knows, please let us know. Let me show you a quick bonus first of all, which is Spider. So I've shown this team multiple times before. We were running this team lots during a CVC stream earlier today. I used to use a Royal Guard in this spot. We've actually replaced it with a Newt though. So we've got a Cold Heart. She's going to be on the Fire Knight team as well. She has to be the fastest to make the extra spiders spawn in. We get the AoE burn. We get the AoE burn explosion from Sissia. Newt nukes with his max HP hit. And then we blow him up with Artak as well. So very simple, 2 HP burn exploders. Everyone should have Artak for free. A Cold Heart in there, an AoE burner. The best ones are Walking Tombdrang and Ignatius because their burns cannot be resisted, whereas everyone else has a 3% chance to fail. Newt can honestly be any speed. So long as he goes before the spider goes, it's fine. He just does his max HP hit. Easier to do, of course, with this crit damage if he is slower than Sissia, because she puts out decreased defense and weaken. But I actually think we're so far ahead of the damage that it probably doesn't matter. And this is a nice, clean, and easy 5-turn farm. About 15 seconds here on 60 frames per second. I think it goes about 13 seconds with unlimited on my PC. So the setup for this one, Newt prioritizing A1, Drang is 261. With this. For the speeds, they just need to be like 1 faster than each other. Like Cold Heart just needs to be the fastest. That's all, really. Then the burner needs to be slower than her. So I've got overkill there. Then first, the burn explosion here. Another burn explosion. And then Newt is coming in with his Blessed Bash as well. So there you go. That is the Spider team. Just thought that'd be a nice little bonus. Now for Fire Knight. So before this, I was honestly farming stage 2 in about 2 minutes with... what was the old team I was using? I was using a freeze team, which was quite fun, actually. I was using this team right here, which I actually put together, I believe, on the test server when these hard mode dungeons initially came out. On the test server, this was able to do stage 10, but then they made the boss much harder. I've been farming stage 2 because it was nice, simple, easy to do. I've actually cleared through the other stages here today, and we can see we're down to 1 minute and 47 seconds with 51 turns here on stage 6. This is the team. Razzlevarg in the lead. Cold Heart, Farrakhan the Fat, a Stag Knight, and then a Newt. We do have a 6-star Phantom Touch on Cold Heart, which is going to help, but we don't really have many awakenings on the others. But broadly speaking, more Phantom Touches is going to help because the Phantom Touch damage does count as an extra hit against the boss's shield. So basically we come into wave 1 and we're just sort of unloading all of our abilities, basically. Stage 6 is very squishy on this first wave. Believe it or not, stage like 2, 3, 4, and 5 all have tankier wave 1s. This one is super squishy, but it still works out just fine. We're still going to cycle through our stuff just fine as well. Now we come to wave 2. We actually have very few abilities ready to go. Razzlevar gets back first with the increased speed. We get the decreased defense, decreased attack from Stagnite. That's quite important to make sure that when we take a hit, we can take a hit from a couple of these enemies. We'll see how it works out. We could be hit, for example, right here. She might actually die from the dots. Sometimes both of them hit you. It's just a good idea to have the extra decreased attack. Just make it nice and 100%. We got hit by 1. So about 51 minute or so, 50 seconds, 1 minute, we're getting to the boss. Razzlevarg A1. Cold Heart A1 rips through the shield, A1 here from Stagnite. Then we have the ally attack, basically repeats all of that. The Stagnite A1 comes in with a decreased speed. Newt's A1 with the ally attack, then he opens with an A1 and the boss is down to 0 turn meter. And it really is that simple. We actually missed the decreased defense from Stagnite, but Farrakhan was kind enough to land it with his A1. He almost never does that. Then Newt goes in with that blessed bash, and look at that damage. It's just illegal, isn't it? The amount of damage he does with that blessed bash, single target nuke, is crazy. Yeah, the nice thing about this is with Razzlevarg boosting our speed, with a decreased speed from Stagnite, we should be able to keep that turn meter down with the speeds that we have pretty much no problem. So we'll get a little bit close right here. Maybe if you had a bunch of resists, you could fail. So that you could see we was quite full. So with a bunch of resists, you could fail, but we should be back around to the ally attack fairly soon. Here it is, which again is going to push it down. In fact, it's going to kill him in this case. In 1 minute, 58 seconds, 54 turns. Fastest I did it was 147. I mean, maybe with perfect luck, it could be a bit faster, but roughly speaking, let's say based off of your PC or your phone, around about 2 minutes, I suppose, roughly, which is pretty solid. And it's much easier to do. One of the big problems when you come to stage 10 is the boss is so fast and he has so many points on his shield, it becomes really difficult to actually get the shield down. You kind of need to tank the first hit, survive the first hit with counterattack and go. It's much more limited, it seems, at the moment. And also worth mentioning, on the waves on stage 10, you also have to get past a Riho, who has a full cleanse with a massive heal on block debuffs. And she also instantly transfers any debuffs from her back to the attacker. So she's a nightmare on wave 2. Like, actually getting through those waves is pretty tricky. So you need to bring, I don't know, some sort of particular special strategy to deal with that. Kind of not worth the hassle, honestly. So yeah, this is how this team works. Let me show you the setup for this one. So stage 6, this works absolutely brilliantly. Here we go. So we've got Razzlevarg. He's just we let him do whatever, and he opens with his A1 because it's a triple hit on the boss. Brilliant. Cold Heart, do whatever you want on the first 2 rounds. We get to the boss, open with your A1 because it's a quad hit and sort of extra because she's Phantom Touch. And then you can priority 1 on Heartseeker to do maximum boss damage. Farrakhan the Fat, whatever you want, wave 1. Wave 2, we're going to save that ally attack, need to have it back. We get to the boss, we'll turn off Brand of Shame, just because the boss will never take a turn, these will never do anything anyway. And if you fill up the debuff bar, you cannot freeze with Newt's A1. You need to actually have a debuff slot free for that to work. But priority 1 on your ally attack, obviously on the boss. You could put Farrakhan in like a reflex gear or something to make it more consistent even and faster, just get more ally attacks. It's up to you. Then Stagnite, again, we're actually going to have him open but turn off his A2 on wave 1. We do want that for wave 2. It's kind of okay with Newt anyway, having also a decreased attack, but just for safety, right? Just for safety. Open with it, turn it off. Wave 2, set him to open, just do it by default, but I set him to open just in case. And then for the boss, open with his A1 for the double hit. And yeah, then for Newt, open but turn off his A2. This is more important for these two guys. This is more important on the previous waves, which were tankier. Not so important for stage 6, really. Whatever you want on wave 2. We come to the boss. We're not going to do this because counterattack, decrease attack, doesn't matter. We're never getting hit. We want as much turn meter as we can. Open with his A1, but priority 1 on Blessed Bash. He should be able to squeeze 1 in, no problem. And it just does so much damage. So very simple, very straightforward. Yeah, let's run it again. Why not? Let's do it one more time. Here we go. So yeah, that's basically how it works. Really nice to see, actually. Look, we've got 2 very recent fusions in Razzlevarg and Newt coming in clutch. They are both booked, mind you. And then, like I said, 2 epics and 1 rare. It's difficult enough to replace Cold Heart. You could maybe look at something like Rhonda, perhaps. Someone with multi-hits on their A1 that can rip through the shield. Rhonda could be a good option if you were able to build her like in really fast gear like Cold Heart is in. You kind of would prefer Cold Heart's sort of ideal because it's quite easy for a rare champion to actually get a good awakening on her. And that Phantom Touch, it does help to just make sure the shield goes down smoothly and there's no shenanigans happening. Farrakhan the Fat, you could bring in any sort of ally attack champion that's going to bring in all allies. He doesn't attack himself, but he brings in the other 4. There are some ally attackers like Lanicus, for example, that's going to bring in some of your team. That could be a little risky. That could be risky. It's better to bring in someone with all. So Farrakhan the Fat's ideal as an epic, or Lanatharil, obviously Cardial. I think if you had Cardial, you'd be trying to push up for stage 20. Not stage 20, stage 10. But yeah, Lanatharil will be a good one. Longbeard to be another good one. Any of the full team ally attack champs would be great. Again, you can see that turn meter pushed all the way back. One thing, I did test it out. Stag Knight is not 100% at landing decreased speed with his A1. Not a guarantee by any means. He has 2 chances, but it's not 100%. So that could maybe get in your way. I did have a run where he failed to land the decreased speed, and we were still fine. We still had enough turn meter control. It got close, I'll tell you. It did get close, but we did have enough to get through. So yeah, bear that in mind. You could probably replace Razzlevarg, but man, he's just great. He gets so much speed. He gets lots of hits in. He does good damage. He clears the waves. He gives us a speed aura as well, but he's certainly replaceable. There's nothing essential that he's doing. Stag Knight, I'd say the decreased speed is definitely worthwhile. Makes it much easier, but again, perhaps not essential. So there's actually quite a bit of flexibility with this team. To be honest with you, there's quite a bit of flexibility, but you get the gist, Newt. Also, one thing to note in terms of the team order, when Farrakhan calls in the ally attack, Razzlevarg goes first for 3 hits, then Cold Heart for 4. She can proc Phantom Touch. You could also run Phantom Touch on Razzlevarg for an extra chance. Stag Knight is next with the double hit. And the reason I put it like that is to just try get his decreased speed out. Then Newt is in the last spot to get his triple hit in with the freeze, so he can push that turn meter all the way back. I don't know, maybe Stag Knight at the back would be a bit better. Just get 2 full chances of decreased speed. I found that this sort of turn order was fine. Farrakhan could be anywhere, right? But the other 4 sort of should be, broadly speaking, I think, in this aura. Let's use the speed aura as well, which is, I think, pretty useful. There you go, 50 turns roughly. That was 2 minutes, grand. And bada bing, bada boom, easy as that. If we show you the builds on all these champions. So Cold Heart is very quick. I will say that. I don't think she needs to be this fast. She's 279 speed, which is very quick. 70% crit rate, crit damage. Yeah, that's sort of it. She does have Giant Slayer to speed it up. You could give her, I don't know, whatever, Master Hexer. You could give her Methodical. I don't think it really makes much difference, honestly. But yeah, super fast Cold Heart. Probably doesn't need to be that quick, but do have her be faster, preferably, than your Newt, I'd say, is important. And it's the same Cold Heart that slots in to the Spider team. So if you want to do both, the same Cold Heart just as much faster as Newt is still going to work. You know, you want to be a few speed ahead so you can slot in the HP burners for Spider in between them. You get the gist, right? Simple enough. Farrakhan, he is coming in. He's 253 speed. That's sort of it. You know, he does other stuff, but it's not hugely important. He does have War Master for a bit of extra boss damage and, you know, make his moves a bit stronger for the waves, but nothing too crucial. Stag Knight has War Master. What is important with Stag Knight, Sniper, make him better at landing that decreased speed. That actually is important. He has some random stuff I don't know why he has, but that's okay. Mastery's not too crucial with him. He is coming in 264 speed. He does have some crit rate, help clear the waves as well, and some accuracy, of course. We've got Newt. We already saw him, but just to go over it one more time, 251 speed, 400 accuracy, and so on, 222% crit damage. He does have this build, so the Giant Slayer coming in there. And Razzlevarg, he's coming in with Giant Slayer. He does have Ruthless Ambush. I don't know if it's that important, but I think it's kind of nice to grab Whirlwind of Death, seeing as it ups his damage, right? His damage scales with his speed. It's kind of a nice little perk. And yeah, just sort of some more random speedy stuff. He has Giant Slayer. Pretty fun champ. He's actually in Killstroke and Perception, he can sort of be in whatever. I think it's not that important. He's not in Savage or anything crazy. But he has 250 speed, like decent attack, decent crit damage. He only has 200 accuracy. So he's going to land actually most of his debuffs because he does give increased accuracy here. So he doesn't need that much accuracy to land the leech. And the leech is kind of helpful for the waves, right? For the lower tier waves, especially where you might get beat up a bit. But I mean, basically, he's just run fast with decent damage. There's nothing too intense. And that's it. Simple enough. Bam. 2 great teams for farming. Quick, easy farms, really, with Newt, with relatively accessible champion, considering how far in the game this is, right? Considering this is like great stages to farm in hard mode dungeons, they're relatively accessible teams. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I've already, of course, done a Shogun team with Newt using Gnarlhorn. We might come back and figure it out. Obviously, in the Shogun team I did with Newt, he was running faster than this, and Coldheart was running much slower. So I'm going to come up with a new speed tune for that to get this working for Shogun as well, which would be cool. And yeah, maybe we can get this skin for Newt. It's gonna be really hard to get, but we'll see. Thanks for watching, everyone. Look, I hope you enjoyed. Hopefully these teams are helpful to you, so it maybe even inspire you in some different ways. I think Newt has really immediately, number one, made Spider easier, but really opened up Fire Knight as a nice, easy thing to farm. I'll catch you all next time. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll see you then. Goodbye.